On today's show, Cavs guard Darius Garland named Eastern Conference Player of the Week, but that's not the most important thing he did this week. Plus, are the Cavs asking Donovan Mitchell to do enough? We'll talk about all that and so much more on today's edition of Locked On Cavs.
You are Locked On Cavs, your daily Cleveland Cavaliers podcast.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? My name is Danny Cunningham. You might know me from my time covering the Cleveland Cavaliers, places like my Substack, The Inside Shot, Cleveland Magazine, 92.3 The Fan, and a number of other stops along the way. I want to say thank you to you for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. You can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked On Cavs. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure a friend is subscribed as well. And if you're watching the show on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked On Cavs content, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show, of course, sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, that is code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Also need to let you know that Locked On Cavs now has a daily newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Cavs daily newsletter, your one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Cavs newsletter. It came out on Monday afternoon that Cavs guard Darius Garland was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week for the second time this season for his play over the past 3 games. That includes the game against Oklahoma City, the game against Toronto, of course, where Garland had 40 points, and the loss on Sunday night against the Indiana Pacers. This is the second time this season that Garland has been given this honor. He becomes just the second player in the Eastern Conference this year to receive multiple Eastern Conference Player of the Week awards. Also, Jason Tatum of Boston has taken home the honor twice for his play for the Celtics. So what Garland did this week was he went out, he averaged 26 points per game, 7.7 assists per game, came up big in the second half of the game of the year against Oklahoma City. And then the very next night, on a night where the Cavs clearly did not have the same juice, did not have the same energy level, which I think is a very understandable thing considering what Wednesday night against OKC was. And Garland basically put the team on his back and said, no, we're not losing this game to this Raptors team a night after beating OKC. We're going to find a way. So what's he do? Goes out, has 40 points, his highest scoring game of the season, certainly one of the best games that he has played all year. And those things all combined led to him being named Conference Player of the Week. But what I do think Darius Garland did this week, which has not been announced, is I think Darius Garland made the All-Star team for how good he has played this week. And I think that this Player of the Week award that he received on Monday just reaffirms my thinking there, that he went from somebody that I thought 2 weeks ago, I looked at everything, looked at how he was playing, looked at how a lot of the other guards in the Eastern Conference were playing. I thought, man, Darius Garland is an all-star, but I don't know if there's room on the all-star team for Darius Garland. It's not as if he hasn't played well enough to warrant the conversation or to warrant a spot on the team. It's just that there are some other guys that are playing pretty well too, that they deserve to be in that conversation. And then I wasn't planning on this, but LaMelo Ball being first in all-star voting for starters, like that is somebody who could take away a spot from somebody like Darius Garland. But as you go through this, and as you watch what he was able to do this past week, particularly in the OKC game where he came up huge in the second half, and the Toronto game where, again, he scored, I think, 25 of his 40 points in the second half of that game. But the Cavs very clearly don't win either of those games without Darius Garland. And I don't think that the Cavs are who the Cavs are this year without Darius Garland. I think that he has been somebody that I don't want to say has been a pleasant surprise, because I went into the season expecting him to get back to all-star form. I thought that, holding last year's fractured jaw and everything else that went poorly for him against him was the wrong thing to do. And I was very confident that Garland was going to have a bounce back season the way that he has. But I think that what he's done this past week and with how good the Cavs have been, he deserves to be on this all-star team. I don't think that the conversation with him should be any more about whether or not Darius Garland is going to be an all-star. I think we should be having a conversation. Donovan Mitchell deserves to be a starter. How far away from that is Darius Garland? I think that should be the new conversation with him surrounding that weekend in February. It's not whether or not he deserves to be there. It's whose spot is he taking, because somebody else doesn't deserve to be there. I shouldn't say doesn't deserve to be there. Somebody's going to miss out because Darius Garland is going to be there. I'm starting to feel very, very confident about this. And the fact that he got a a player of the week award, which I believe is not, fans don't vote on that. I'm not positive who votes on on player of the week. I know that coaches will be voting for all-star reserves. And I think that Garland getting this type of award for the second time this season, I think that is something that should make you more confident that Garland is going to be part of the All-Star game in February where it rolls around. Now, are the Cavs going to have 2 All-Stars? Are they going to have 3? Are they going to have 4? I don't know exactly what that looks like. I think there's a better case for 4 All-Stars now than there was a week ago, even after that loss in what was a very, a clunker of a game on Sunday night against the Pacers. But I do think Garland's going to be involved there. I mean, for the season, he's very, very close to being a 50, 40, 90 guy. That's a really rare thing across, not just the NBA, but NBA history. Right now, as I record this in my hotel room on Monday night in Indianapolis, before Tuesday's game, Garland is sitting at 49.8% shooting, over 40% from 3, over 91% from the line. Like, he is somebody that is doing something really, really special. And I think that keeping him out of the All-Star game would be a big mistake. And it's a mistake that I don't think we're going to see. And I do think there's a case. I'm not here to make this case today, and I don't know necessarily how strongly I believe in this case. But I do think that there's a case to be made that Garland is not very far away from who Donovan Mitchell has been as a player this year. And I will talk more about Donovan Mitchell and the season he's having and whether the Cavs are getting the most out of him or whether or not that's even important right now, coming up in segment number 2 today. But I do think that there's a case to be made that there's not that big of a gap between Garland and Mitchell, that Darius Garland has been just as important to the Cavs' success as Donovan Mitchell has been. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, but I think there's an argument there. I think that you could make the case that relative to their standards, Darius Garland is having a better year than Donovan Mitchell. He's doing things more efficiently. And both of them, I think, have been awesome. Now, I'll get into Donovan a little bit deeper again coming up in segment number 2, but I don't see how Darius can play the level that he's played at to earn this honor. And this isn't just he had a great week. No, this is who he's been for most of this season. I think more and more people are just starting to see it now. And I think that this week ahead, the week that we're starting Tuesday night in Indianapolis, I think this week serves as a really big opportunity for him. In my mind, his participation in All-Star Weekend has been solidified, but I think that this week serves as a really big opportunity to solidify that to the rest of the NBA, because yes, everyone in the NBA has access to League Pass. Everyone in the NBA can watch whatever team they want to watch at any given time, but all of America is going to be able to see the Cavs both tonight against the Pacers and then Thursday night against OKC, because both games will be on TNT. Both games are nationally televised. I don't know that either game is going to draw as many viewers as last Wednesday's game against OKC did, but I do think that there are going to be a lot of eyeballs that are on these games. And if Darius Garland goes out and continues to play the way that Darius Garland has played for the most part this season, I mean, everyone has off games and Darius Garland has not been, immune to that. But if he goes out and just continues to be Darius Garland and continues to be the straw that stirs this Cavs drink, and this is important too, if the Cavs keep winning, I think that has to be part of the equation. I can't sit here and say winning matters and then the Cavs go on a losing streak and me still say, yeah, the Cavs deserve four All-Stars. I can't do that either. That would be talking out of both sides of my mouth. But if they keep winning and if Darius continues to play at the same exact level he's been playing at, I think that this week he has the chance to nationally slam the door shut on the conversation as to whether or not he deserves to be an All-Star. For me, that conversation is over. Darius Garland has done enough. He deserves to be there alongside Donovan Mitchell, alongside Evan Mobley, and maybe alongside Jared Allen. I don't know about Allen, but I do think that those first 3 guys, all 3 of them, very much deserve to be in the All-Star game in San Francisco in February. I think Garland has done enough. But if he hasn't done enough in the eyes of coaches, in the eyes of players, in the eyes of the media, I think that this week is the best opportunity he's going to have. And he's starting it off the best way possible by being named Eastern Conference Player of the Week for this past week. Again, he averaged 26 points, 7.7 assists per game. And for the season, he's almost at 50, 40, 90. He's been one of the best guards in the NBA, not just the Eastern Conference. He's been one of the best guards in the NBA. And I think that this award kind of speaks that, okay, it's time to start treating Darius Garland like the player that he is. Now, for Donovan Mitchell, he's going to be an all-star. We know that. But are the Cavs actually asking him to do enough, right? That's not a thing you often hear. We will discuss that next right here on today's edition of Locked On Cavs. Today's show is brought to you by Wayfair. After the holiday hustle, there's nothing like giving your home a little TLC. You know, I always find that decluttering and refreshing my space helps get me back into a routine, especially after a really hectic time of the year. You know, you have a lot going on with the holidays. You're being pulled in so many different directions. Sometimes being able to declutter things, rearrange things, do all those things can just help ease your mind a little bit and get you back into the right frame of mind. So whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want to give your space a new look to start the year, Wayfair has everything you need, and it's all within your budget, right? You don't want to be spending tons and tons of money out there, but Wayfair has what you need within your price range. And one of my favorite parts about Wayfair, the free and hassle-free delivery, even for the larger items, right? Like if you go to the store and you buy something huge, you have to rent a truck. It becomes a whole big thing. You don't want to do that. Wayfair helps you eliminate that part of the process. And Wayfair's site also very easy to navigate, and everything that you need can be found in no time. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or your budget. Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your New Year's home goals too, with endless inspiration for every space, right? Like, this is the time of the year where if you're going to do some redesign, if you want to change up the look, it's the time of year to do it. And Wayfair is the place to go. So give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. Like I said at the top of the show, you can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Make sure you are subscribed on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Subscribe on both. Subscribe everywhere. Locked On Cavs. If you're watching on YouTube, my backdrop's a little bit different. I'm in a hotel. I'm in Indianapolis covering the Cavs in Indy tomorrow, so I don't have my normal backdrop. I will be back at home for Thursday's show. We'll be looking at my normal backdrop, but even with these, plain brown curtains behind me, make sure you give me a thumbs up on YouTube if you are watching. So Donovan Mitchell is still the best player in the Cavs. That is not a conversation. I think that Darius Garland has gotten closer. I think Evan Mobley has gotten closer, but Donovan Mitchell is still the best player in the Cavs. I think he has played this year at an all-NBA level. His counting numbers don't necessarily reflect that. And so I put out a tweet, and I might do this a little bit later in the week, but I put out a tweet didn't know if now was the right time for a mailbag. And one of the things that I kept getting was, hey, are the Cavs not letting Donovan Mitchell do enough? Because the last couple of games that he's played have not been his best games. No one's going to look back and remember, man, that Donovan Mitchell with what he's done over the last several games, and that's fine. Stars go through stretches like that. And this year, I think, has been very different for Donovan Mitchell than the first 2 years he's had in Cleveland, and certainly any of the years that he had in Utah. He is being asked to be in a different role for the betterment of the team. I think Donovan has accepted that role with open arms, and as you've seen, it has led to immense success for the Cavs. The Cavs are asking Donovan Mitchell to do less so that they can ask Darius Garland and Evan Mobley to do more. That is what is happening for the Cavs. Because if Darius Garland and Evan Mobley are doing more, when the time comes when they need to do more in the postseason, they'll be better suited to do it. I think that we all know, and this is why I think that this conversation is getting a little overblown. There's no reason to worry about Donovan Mitchell because he's had 4 subpar games in a row. If we get to the point where Donovan Mitchell has not looked like Donovan Mitchell for like the better part of 20 games, okay, I think that's a different discussion, but that's not where we're at. He's had 4 games where he's not scored 20 points or more. That's where Donovan Mitchell is right now. I don't think that this is a big deal because Donovan Mitchell is being asked to do less than any year he's had in the NBA since his rookie year. He's playing the fewest minutes per game since his rookie season. He's averaging the fewest points per game since his rookie season. He's taking the fewest field goal attempts since his rookie season. But you know what he also is doing? He's playing on the best team that he's ever been part of. Yes, he played on a couple of Utah teams that were really, really good that did not make it past the second round in the postseason. But the one team went 52-20 in a 72-game season because of COVID. That team was awesome. That team is not as good as this team. That team did not have an Evan Mobley. That team did not have a Darius Garland. They had some really good players. Like Mike Conley was really good. Rudy Gobert was really good. Those guys were very different from what the Cavs have. And the Cavs are able to be like this because Donovan Mitchell has bought into being part of this. Now, could Donovan Mitchell go out there and average 35 points a night and take 25 shots like maybe some other guards in the league? Sure. I have full faith he could do that because he's that kind of player. He's that good. But for the betterment of the team, he's not doing that. There is going to be a time this year, most likely in May, where the Cavs are going to need Donovan Mitchell to step up, and they're going to need him to carry the team for a little bit. It might be a game, might be 2 games, might be a series, might be a quarter. I don't know, but I do know that will happen. And I know that Donovan Mitchell is capable of doing that. There's also going to be a time where Evan Mobley is asked to step up and carry the team for a little bit, where Darius Garland is asked to step up and carry the team for a little bit. We don't know how well those guys are going to be able to handle that in the postseason. But I do know that by asking them to carry more of the load during the regular season, one, it makes them more likely to be able to do that in the postseason. And that is what this entire season is going to be about, is how well can the Cavs play? How well can they transition from regular season basketball to postseason basketball? And if they're doing this now, which they've been great during the regular season, gives me more confidence they'll be able to do it in the postseason. Now, we won't know for sure until we see it, and the playoffs are a different animal, as we all know. But I think you feel more confident in them being able to do it after seeing it in the regular season, as opposed to not seeing it in the regular season and then being asked to see it in the postseason. And I do think that Donovan Mitchell having to carry less of a load for the Cavs is the best thing for Donovan Mitchell and the best thing for the Cavs. Because think about the last couple of years. What has happened? Donovan Mitchell has looked like a player who has run out of gas when the postseason arrives. Last year, there was an injury. He missed a significant chunk of the second half of the season because of an injury. The year before, I just kind of thought he ran out of gas because he was playing season high or career high in minutes. There was a lot on his plate. He had to do everything for the Cavs. So this year, is Donovan Mitchell still capable of doing everything for the Cavs? I think so. I see no reason why he wouldn't be capable of that. But he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to do what he's done the last couple of years. And I think that because of that, there's a certain section of this fan base. I'm not saying that you're wrong for thinking this. I just want to explain why I think that it is. But because he's being asked to do things a little bit differently for the betterment of the team, there are some people that take that as to, well, should we be worried about Donovan Mitchell? Are the Cavs not asking Donovan Mitchell to do enough? Because we know exactly what he's capable of as a basketball player. He's a superstar. He's somebody that is capable of being an MVP caliber player. There's no doubts about that. But what the Cavs need him to be is they need him to be an MVP caliber player in the postseason. They don't need him to be an MVP caliber player in the regular season. They're really good, really, really good without him doing that. But for them to win a title, they might need him to go be an MVP caliber player. And if he is fresher when the postseason arrives, because the weight that he had to carry during the regular season wasn't nearly as heavy as it's been, I like to think that is something that's going to increase the chances of him playing at that level when the postseason does arrive. And that, I think, is something that is very important organizationally. And I think it's something that's very important to him. What I've gathered from Donovan Mitchell is that the thing that is most important to him right now in basketball is winning. He's in a winning situation. The Cavs have the best record in basketball. They've beaten every good team they've played. Unless you want to count Indiana as a good team. They've not done that. Or Atlanta, too. I don't think Atlanta's good. But different sort, whatever, different topic. When the postseason arrives, they're going to need him to step up. They're going to need him to be better than he's been in the regular season. Maybe better might not even be the right term. They're going to need him to do more. And he's capable of it. We've seen him be capable of it. But we don't need to see him be capable of it for 82 games. We need to see him be capable of it for 16 games. And I think the common retort to this conversation is, well, what about his rhythm? Like, he doesn't look like a player that's in rhythm. And right now he doesn't. And that's not a big deal. If a player's not in rhythm on January 14th, that doesn't win or lose a title. He's got plenty of time to find a rhythm. He will find a rhythm. He's been in rhythm at times this year. It's just the last couple of games he hasn't been. I don't think there's anything to worry about. I think that this has been all part of the plan for the Cavs, and that plan has very clearly worked masterfully. It has. The Cavs don't need Donovan Mitchell to put on a Superman cape right now. They might in the future. We've seen him have to do it for long stretches of times. We know that he's capable of doing it, but I think he's more capable of doing it if he's not asked to do it until it really matters. And when's it really going to matter? That'll be May and June. So I do think he's capable. I don't think there's anything to worry about because the Cavs are not asking him to do everything they've asked him to do in the previous couple of seasons in Cleveland. It is Tuesday. I want to start doing this early in the week. Sometimes it'll be Monday, sometimes it'll be Tuesday. Just going to depend on the game schedule for the Cavs. But I want to talk about some of the trends because there are some things that might be worth worrying about. We're going to talk about that next right here on Locked On Cavs. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Live events are my thing. I'm in Indy going to a basketball game tonight. I go to Cavs games basically every single game it feels like I'm at there, but I don't need tickets for that. I like going to events I do need tickets for. I like going to football games. I like going to concerts. I like going to all different types of events that I'm not there because I'm working. I'm there because I want to enjoy myself. So when I go to those events, where do I go? I go to Game Time to get tickets because what they do is they take the guesswork out of buying tickets. I don't want to be guessing when I'm buying tickets. I want to be buying tickets that I know are good. Game Time helps me do that. And they made it even easier recently because of the new feature, Game Time Picks. The feature filters out all the fluff and shows you only incredible deals on great seats. I don't want fluff. I don't. Not a guy that's about fluff when it comes to buying tickets. I just want the good stuff. Game Time Picks gives me the good stuff so I don't have to waste my time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. I just get the best deals and the best prices. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Today's show is also brought to you by Hungry Root. When it comes time to go grocery shopping and meal planning, I have a problem here where I have a lot going on. You may have noticed I have my hands in a lot of things, doing Locked On Cavs, the Inside Shot, right for Cleveland Magazine. I have a lot going on. I don't necessarily have time to go grocery shopping, especially, New Year's, trying to eat healthier, trying to drop a couple pounds so I look better on camera for everybody. And it's something that stresses me out. I don't love going to the grocery store. And when I do go, it's really easy to buy the things that you don't need, right? Especially if you go there with an empty stomach. That is cardinal sin number one. So that can be a bit of a struggle when you're trying to stick to those health goals, but everything can change with Hungry Root. Honestly, it's something that can be a game changer for you. It's the easiest way to eat healthy without all the stress. With Hungry Root, it's like having a personal shopper and nutritionist all in one. They take care of the grocery shopping, recommending meals, groceries based on taste and health goals that you have, from anti-inflammatory to high protein and gluten-free options. Best part of it too, every meal ready in 15 minutes or less. When you're busy like me, 15 minutes or less, a really big deal when you're trying to eat healthy. Quick, healthy meals. And here's the best part. They actually taste great too. It's not just, oh man, 15 minutes. Of course it's right. It tastes like cardboard. No, not what Hungry Root is about. Plus, it's all delivered straight to your door. It's a huge time saver, and it can make eating healthy so much simpler. So you're going to love Hungry Root. All you have to do for a limited time, get 40% off your first box and a free item in every box for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com, HUNGRYROOT.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA, LOCKEDONNBA, to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. Again, hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA. Don't miss out. Thank you again for making Locked On Cavs your first listen today and every day. Like I said earlier, if you're watching the show on YouTube, my backdrop's different. I'm in Indy doing this from a hotel room, so I don't have my normal backdrop, but give me a thumbs up. Anyway, make sure you hit subscribe and click that notification bell as well. Let's look at some trends. So for the season, the Cavs currently still first in offense. They have an offensive rating of 121.2. That is best in the league. They are still a historically good offense despite having their worst offensive day of the season on Sunday night against the Pacers. They are defensively ranked number 9 at 110.6 on defense. It's probably not where it needs to be a championship contender. They've got time, but I don't know that the defense is trending in the right direction. Net rating wise, they are plus 10.6 points better than their opponents per 100 possessions. That ranks second in the NBA. So the game against the Pacers on Sunday, that took their offensive rating down more than a half point. It did a number on that offensive rating. It took their net rating down by 0.6. So before that game, they were at plus 11.2. After that game, they're at plus 10.6. That game did a number on them. Just because the offense was so bad. So in the last 15 games for the Cavs, they are still first in defense, or first in offense, offensive rating of 122.6, really good. Defensive rating of 111.4. That is 13th in the NBA. So that is not a great place to be. That tells you the defense as of lately maybe has not been as good as it was during the month of December, because in the month of January, they've not been very good yet. So, and even at the end of December too, you look at that Denver game, not very good in that one. Net rating, plus 11.2, second in the NBA, only behind OKC. Last 10 games, offense has been even better. 123.0 offensive rating, first in the league, which even includes just that awful offensive game against Indiana. Defensively, they have a defensive rating of 113 in their last 10 games. That is 17th in the NBA. That is not championship level basketball on that end of the floor. Net rating is plus 9.9. So to have a 123 offensive rating and not be over 10 in terms of your net rating, that is not a great place to be. That is something that I do think is a little concerning. It's not like, oh my goodness, sounding alarms type concerning, but it's just something to monitor here. We saw the team have a really poor month of November on defense. They had a good month of December. Let's see if January, if they build on it or if they slack. We don't know. It's a little early in the month still to make any definitive type of statement as far as that go. And the Indy game really did hurt their offensive numbers, and they've had a few bad defensive games too. You think about that Denver game where they gave up 135 points. Now they won by 15 or 14, but they still gave up 135 points. They did not play well defensively. The game against OKC, I don't think they played poorly defensively, but they had a bad defensive rating because the shot making, I thought, on both sides was just outrageous. That Toronto game, they gave up 126 points to the Raptors. That's going to hurt the defensive rating. So those are just some trends, some things to keep an eye on. Again, not a definitive thing that the Cavs can't win because their defense isn't good enough, but I do think that we're getting to a point where it's like, okay, that unit should step up a little bit. So we will see if they do. Cavs are back in action tonight, taking on the Indiana Pacers. I will be at the game covering in person. We'll have a podcast first thing, making it your first listen Wednesday morning about what happened. Can the Cavs get the split? I don't know. We will have to wait and see, but make sure you keep it locked right here for your first listen every day, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, anywhere else. Drop us a 5-star rating. Leave us a nice review. Be a friend. Tell a friend about Locked on Cavs. And if you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the latest Locked on Cavs.